The silent guest. Deep within the eerie silence of Aokigahara Forest, a secluded lodge stood hidden beneath the trees, offering shelter to weary travelers. Kenta, a stressed businessman, arrived late, hoping for a night of uninterrupted rest before his morning meeting in Tokyo. The receptionist barely acknowledged him, sliding a key across the desk. "Room 206, she murmured. Her tone was odd, almost reluctant. Kenta climbed the creaky stairs, the dim lighting barely illuminating the narrow hallway. Room 206 smelled musty, as if it had been locked up for years. The window wouldn't budge, the walls felt damp, and the mirror above the sink had strange smudges, as though someone had pressed their face against it. As he lay in bed, sleep eluded him. A rustling sound came from the corner. He turned on his phone's flashlight, nothing. Just a wooden chair facing the bed. Shrugging it off, he forced his eyes shut. 3 a.m., a whisper stirred him awake.
Let me in.
His chest tightened. The voice was faint yet insistent. First, he thought it came from outside, but his stomach dropped when he realized it was inside the room. His phone screen reflected something behind him. Slowly, he turned his head toward the chair. It was no longer empty. A dark figure sat there, grinning, its eyes hollow and sunken. Swayed slightly, as though waiting. Panic surged through Kenta as he bolted for the door, fumbling with the lock. When he turned back, the figure was gone. The chair sat vacant, as if nothing had happened. Morning couldn't come fast enough. Shaken, he rushed to the front desk. "Was someone in my room last night?" The receptionist's face went pale. "Room 206 hasn't been used for years." "That's impossible." She cut him off. "The last guest. He never left." A heavy silence filled the air. Slowly, Kenta turned toward the hallway. His door was slightly ajar. Inside, the chair was no longer empty. The shadowy figure was back. This time it was standing, waiting. The 13th floor, the La Vue Hotel, an elegant yet aging structure in the heart of New Orleans, was known for its southern charm and its secrets. One rule puzzled guests: there was no 13th floor. Maggie, a skeptical journalist, had heard rumors that pressing the elevator button 12 times in a row at midnight would unlock a hidden floor. She was determined to prove it was just a myth. With a smirk, she stepped into the elevator, pressed the button repeatedly, and waited. The lights flickered. The elevator jerked violently, sending her stomach into her throat. When the doors slid open, she found herself in a dimly lit hallway. The walls were covered in peeling, water-stained wallpaper. The stench of rot filled the air. Doors lined the corridor, but none had numbers. The silence was suffocating. Maggie stepped forward, the doors sliding shut behind her with a dreadful finality. A whisper drifted down the hall.
"You found us."
She froze. The voice was layered, multiple tones speaking as one. Slowly, a door creaked open at the end of the hall. Inside, a room full of people stood motionless. Their skin was gray, their hollow eyes locked onto her. Their mouths moved, but no sound came. The hallway lights flickered. A cold hand grasped Maggie's wrist. She screamed, yanking away, scrambling back to the elevator. Slamming the button, she felt unseen fingers brush her shoulders. The doors finally shut, and she collapsed inside. The next morning, a maid found Maggie curled up in a fetal position in the lobby elevator, whispering over and over, "The 13th floor is waiting." The Blackwood Inn sat nestled in the Scottish Highlands, its centuries-old stone walls holding whispers of the past. It was a favorite spot for ghost hunters, but Tom and Claire, newlyweds on their honeymoon, weren't superstitious. They had booked room 9. The receptionist, however, frowned at their request. "There is no room 9. Tom showed her the confirmation email. Confused, she handed them a key, and a porter reluctantly led them down a dim corridor. The end stood a single door with a tarnished brass number, 9 inside. The air was thick, cold. The walls seemed oddly stretched, like something was pressing against them from within. The bed creaked under an unseen weight. 2 a.m., Claire woke up with a start. Someone's knocking. A slow, deliberate knock came from inside the closet. Tom swallowed hard and stood. He flung the door open, nothing. But the mirror reflected a man standing directly behind them, grinning widely. Morning couldn't come fast enough. They rushed to check out. The receptionist paled. But, we don't have a room 9. Tom turned. The hallway they had walked down was gone. Only a solid brick wall remained.
That's it for tonight's tale. But don't worry, there's always more where that came from. Be sure to stay tuned for even more nerve-thrilling horror stories every single week. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join us here at the Hollow Horror. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Until then, stay safe. Or stay scared. See you next time.